When you hear a show tune from the great white way, does a shiver run through ya? Well, we're giving them to ya. Sing hallelujah and shout hooray. Come on along and listen to Broadway to Main Street. USA.
Come on in here, come on in here, Alexander Ragtime Band. Come on in here, come on in here, the best band in the land. They can play a bugle call like you never heard before. So natural that you wanna go to war. It's just the best this band would have. Oh, honey lamb, come on along, come on along. Let me take you by the hand to meet the man, who's the leader of the band. And if you want to hear that Swanee River played in a ragtime, come on in here, come on in here, come on in here, come on in here, come on and hear that Alexander Ragtime Band now. Come on along, come on along. Let me take you by the hand to meet the man, who's the leader of the band. And if you want to hear that Swanee River played in a ragtime, well, come on in here, come on in here, come on in here, come on in here, come on and hear that Alexander Ragtime Band.
And what more jovial, jubilant, and welcoming sound could we have to an episode about Broadway's early days than one written by that ragged meter man, Irving Berlin, and sung so entertainingly by Ray Charles. Hello, this is Larry Maslon, your host for Broadway to Main Street, here on 88.3 WLIW-FM, Long Island's only signature, one-of-a-kind, individual NPR station. It is very typical on Broadway to Main Street that we would take songs that originated in shows and Broadway shows in the theater district and how they emanated across the world in cabarets, movies, you name it. But today we're going to kind of ratchet back the clock a little bit and go to that little area off Broadway, west of Broadway on 28th Street between Broadway and 6th Avenue called Tin Pan Alley, which was the home of the sheet music industry and the American popular song industry at the turn of the 20th century. So one of the reasons we're celebrating these wonderful songs, which you all know in one manner, shape, or form, is on Saturday, October 23rd from noon to 4:00 p.m. There will be a live, ongoing public concert in the Flatiron District. That's 23rd Street, 5th Avenue, Broadway, south of Madison Square Park. There's plenty of food. It's all free. And you're going to find some of the finest entertainers in our business, including Marilyn May and Anita Gillette and two of our friends in particular, Steve Ross and Eric Comstock. So Tin Pan Alley referred to this block at, again, in the early 1900s, where there was so many sheet music, and piano players in those companies that the windows were open and it sounded like many tin pans banging against each other. At least that's what legend refers to it as. And let us go back to the first mega hit from this era. This is 1892 song. Charles K. Harris wrote After the Ball. And it was a nice sentimental piece of Americana, but it became a super hit when it was interpolated into a show called A Trip to Chinatown and became the first $1 million selling piece of sheet music. And it could not be rendered better than that couple who has put so much time and devotion and integrity to the early part of popular song in this previous century, Joan Morris and William Bolcom, singing definitively After the Ball.
The stars are gone, many a heart is aching. If you could read them all, many the hopes that have vanished after the ball. Bright lights were flashing in the grand ballroom, softly the music playing sweet tunes. There came my sweetheart, my love, my own. I wish some water, leave me alone. When I returned, dear, there stood a man kissing my sweetheart as lovers can. Down fell the glass pet, broken, that's all, just as my heart was after the ball. After the ball is over, after the break of dawn, after the dance is leaving, after the stars are gone, many a heart is aching. If you could read them all, many the hopes that have vanished after the ball. Long years have passed, child, I've never wed. True to my lost love, though she is dead. She tried to tell me, tried to explain. I would not listen, pleadings were vain. One day a letter came from that man. He was her brother, the letter ran. That's why I'm lonely, no home at all. I broke her heart, pet, after the ball.
in the good old summertime, strolling through the shady lanes with my baby mine. I hold her hand and she holds mine, and that's a very good sign that she's my Tootsie Wootsie in the good old summertime. Strolling down a shady lane with my baby mine. I hold her hand and he holds mine, and that's a very good sign that she's your Tootsie Wootsie in the good old summertime. In the good old summertime. In the good old summertime.
Well, that, of course, was Nat King Cole inviting us to one of a huge chunk of Americana in the good old summertime, another popular hit around, I think, 1901. And these songs from these composers, some of the composers and lyricists were better than others, but they captured something about American society, what America wanted to be, what it thought it could be, the values it was hoping to disseminate at the early part of the 20th century. And one of the things that always sold songs, and remember, this is sheet music now. There are no gramophone records really quite yet, and certainly no films, and certainly no radio. They had to have a gimmick, got to get a gimmick. And one thing that was very popular were any kind of decent or affirming evolutions in technology. And back in the day, when you had to make a long-distance call, you had to ring up the operator and be connected to Central, which would connect you on the long-distance line. And here is a wonderful song. I think it's also Charles K. Harris lyrics, sung by the Carter family in the 1930s. June Carter's wonderful country western family, about a little girl who needs to reach Central because she has a very important message.
Give me heaven, for I know my mother's there, and you'll find her with the angel over on the golden stair. She'll be glad it's me a-speaking. Won't you call her for me, please? For I surely want to tell her that we're sad without her here. Hello, Central, give me heaven, for I know my mother's there. You will find her with the angel over on the golden stair. Papa dear is sad and lonely, sobbed a tearful little child. Since Mama's gone to heaven, Papa dear, you do not smile. I will speak to her and tell her that we want her to come home. You just listen while I call her through the telephone. with the angels over on the golden stair. I will answer just to please her. Yes, dear hearts, I'll soon come home. Kiss me, mama, it's your darling. Kiss me through the telephone.
Come away with me, Lucille, in my merry Oldsmobile. Down the road of life we'll fly, automobile, you and I. To the church we'll swiftly steal, then our wedding bells will peal. You can go as far as you like with me in my merry Oldsmobile. Come away with me, Lucille, in my merry Oldsmobile. Down the road of life we'll fly, automobile, and you and I. To the church we'll swiftly steal, then our wedding bells are gonna peal. You can go as far as you like with me in my merry Oldsmobile.
When you take me to cocktail bars, I'm always blue. And when we play gin rummy well, that's nothing new. I dream of a certain place, an open space, where no one's sad. Just listen to a plea concerning me that makes me glad. Lover, take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I never come back. So it's root, root, root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. root for the home team. They don't when it's such a shame. 1, 2, 3 strikes and he's out at the
And that's a home run for me. That's Ella Logan, who we remember from Finian's Rainbow. Take Me Out to the Ball Game, one of the most popular songs of this Tin Pan Alley era, I think is 1904, 1905. And supposedly the lyricist had never gone to see a baseball game, but sort of wrote it on his own enthusiasm based on the popularity of baseball. And before that, we heard Bing Crosby celebrating another American invention, the Oldsmobile, the automobile, which was so prevalent back then. Driving you can drive as far as you like with Mr. Crosby and his Oldsmobile. I leave that to you. Well, another event in 1904 was the Louisiana Exposition, better known as the St. Louis Exposition, the St. Louis Exposition. And of course, there had to be a song about that to commemorate that event. And who did it better than Judy Garland herself in the film Meet Me in St. Louis?
When Louis came home to the flats, he hung up his coat and his hat. He gazed all around, but no wifey he found, so he said, "Where can Flossie be at?" A note on the table he spied. He read it just once, then he cried. It ran, "Louis dear, it's too slow for me here, so I think I will go for a ride. Meet me in St. Louis, Louis, meet me at the fair. Don't tell me the lights are shining any place but there. We will dance the hoochie coochie. I will be your tootsie wootsie if you will meet me in St. Louis, Louis, meet me at the fair."
Shining any place but there.
We will dance the hoochie coochie. I will be your tootsie wootsie
If you will meet me in St. Louis, Louis, meet me at the fair.
Down in the jungles lived a maid of royal blood, though dusky shade.
A large impression one she made upon a Zulu
from Matabooloo.
And every morning he would be down underneath the bamboo tree,
awaiting there his love to see.
And then to her he'd sing,
to her he'd sing. Vamp. If you like a me like I like a you, and we like a both the same, I like to say this very day, I like to change your name, 'cause I love you and love you too, and if you love me, one live is two live is one, under the bamboo tree.
Well, you'll recognize Judy Garland again, and this time with Margaret O'Brien singing a wonderful song from Meet Me in St. Louis. One of the things that's interesting and a little confounding and a little exasperating about Tin Pan Alley is the way it treated ethnic minorities in America. There was a subculture of songs that either made fun of or definitely stereotyped African Americans, but many of them were written by African Americans. And in fact, those lyrics were by Bob Cole and the Johnson brothers, James P. Johnson and James Rosamond Johnson. So that's part of American history too. And one of the early songs about these individuals or the way these individuals was depicted was a song called Bill Bailey, which almost everybody knows. And who sang it better than the one, the only Pearl Bailey?
One fine summer day, the sun was shining fine. The lady love of old Bill Bailey was hanging clothes on the line in her yard and weeping hard. She married a being old brakeman. That man threw her down, billowing like an old moo calf with the big gang hanging round. And to the crowd, she yelled out loud. She said, won't you come home, Bill Bailey? Won't you come home? She moaned the whole day long. I'll do the cooking, honey, I'll pay the rent. I know I've done you wrong. Don't you remember that rainy eve I put you out with nothing but a fine tooth comb? I know I'm to blame, I feel ashamed. Bill Bailey, won't you please come home? She moaned the whole day long. Honey, I'll do the cooking, honey, I'll pay the rent. I know I've done you wrong. Don't you remember that rainy eve I put you out with nothing but a fine tooth comb? I know I'm to blame. Ain't that a shame? Bill Bailey, Bill Bailey, Bill Bailey, won't you please come home? Some of these days you're gonna be so lonely. One of these days you're gonna want me only. You're gonna miss my hugging, you're gonna miss my kissing. Like when I go away, when you go lonely, you're gonna want me only. 'Cause you know, baby, you've always had your way. When I leave you, I know it's gonna grieve you. You're gonna miss your big fat mama some of these days you gonna want my hugging and my kissing. Then you'll see what you've been missing. Ha 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 ha. Who'll have the last laugh in? You're gonna miss your big bad loving mama. Yeah, one of these days.
That was Big Maybelle, a huge rhythm and blues artist, singing a song written by an African-Canadian composer named Shelton Brooks. And that song was written in, I think, 1910. But when Sophie Tucker picked it up and made it a hit, it was one of the most important songs of the Tin Pan Alley era. And we are celebrating Tin Pan Alley today on Broadway to Main Street because there's a huge outdoor concert Saturday, October 23rd from noon to 4 p.m. And you should check it out. Check out all 4 hours. They have such fascinating programming with many artists, including Eric Comstock, who is going to be performing some of these days, and he is often mistaken for Sophie Tucker. So you don't want to miss that. Among the tropes, that's a fancy word we use, but themes, topics that were so popular during this early era were cowboy songs and way out west songs. And let us go way out west, the movie with Laurel and Hardy, and hear them render eternally amusingly, if you've ever seen the film, Trail of the Lonesome Pine.
The best in the house.
Yes, sir.
I'll be back in a minute.
On a mountain in Virginia stands a lonesome pine. Just below is the cabin home of a little girl of mine. Her name is June, and very, very soon she'll belong to me. For I know she's waiting there for me 'neath that lone pine tree. In the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia, on the trail of the lonesome pine, in the pale moonshine, our hearts entwine, where she carved her name and I carved mine. Oh June, just like the mountains are blue, like the pine, I am lonesome for you. In the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia, on the trail of the lonesome pine.
In the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia, on the trail of the lonesome pine. In the pale moonshine, our hearts entwine, where she carved her name and I carved mine. Oh, June, like the mountains I'm blue, like the pine, I am lonesome for you.
In the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia, on the trail of the lonesome pine.
Ragtime, talk about your ragtime, ragtime, talk about your ragtime, ragtime. Love that ragtime, ragtime cowboy Joe.
He always sings swinging music to the cattle as he swings back and forward in a saddle on a horse that is syncopated, gaited, and there's such a funny meter to the roar of his repeater. How they run when they hear the fellow's gun, because the western folks all know he's a highfalutin, rootin', tootin' son of a gun from Arizona. Ragtime cowboy Joe.
Ragtime, talk about your ragtime, ragtime, talk about your ragtime, ragtime. Love that ragtime, ragtime cowboy Joe. He sings, swinging music to the cattle as he swings, back and forward in the saddle on a horse, pretty good horse.
That a syncopated, gated, and the
Such a funny meter to the roar of his repeater, how they run.
when they hear the fella's gun, because the western folks all know he's a highfalutin, rootin' tootin'
Son of a gun from Arizona, ragtime cowboy. Talk about your cowboy, ragtime cowboy Joe.
That was the rollicking Joe Stafford with our second cowboy song, Ragtime Cowboy Joe. It combines two important ideas in early Tin Pan Alley. There is a wonderful play called June Moon by George Kaufman and Ring Lardner that spoofs Tin Pan Alley. It was written in 1929, and one of the characters says, gee, if all the songwriters actually came from the states they wrote about, what a big Jewish population Tennessee must have. And here is Irving Berlin's ditty. He certainly strode this era like a colossus and had an office near Tin Pan Alley, I think, but was also a music publisher and wrote a lot of one-off songs before he became more adept at Broadway shows and reviews and narratives and stuff. It is a song about a state I doubt he ever went to when he wrote it, but here is Judy Garland once again singing, I Want to Go Back to Michigan.
I was born in Michigan, and I wish and wish again that I was back in the town where I was born. There's a farm in Michigan, and I'd like to fish again in the river that flows beside the field of waving corn. A lonesome soul am I, is the reason why I want to go back, I want to go back, I want to go back to the farm, far away from home, with the milk pail on my arm. I miss the rooster, the one that used to wake me up at 4 a.m. I think your great big city's very pretty. Nevertheless, I want to be there, I want to see there a certain someone full of charm. That's why I wish again that I was in Michigan, down on the farm. I want to go back, I want to go back, I want to go back to that old farm, far away from home, with a milk pail on my arm. I miss the rooster that used to wake me up at 4 a.m. I think your great big city's very pretty. Nevertheless, I want to be there, I want to see there a certain someone full of charm. That's why I wish again that I was in Michigan, down on the farm.
Back home again in Indiana, and it seems that I can see the gleaming candlelight still shining bright through the sycamores for me. The new mown hay sends all its fragrance from the fields I used to roam. When I dream about the moonlight on the Wabash, then I long for my Indiana The new mown hay sends all its fragrance from the fields I used to roam. When I dream about the moonlight on the Wabash, then I long for my Indiana home.
The heartbreaking voice of Rosemary Clooney. People seem to like Indiana. I think that was where Hoagie Carmichael and Cole Porter came from, as well as Paul Dresser, who wrote Banks Along the Wabash, which this song doffs its hat to, another state song. Well, one of the places that had to be apostrophized and recognized and commemorated for Tin Pan Alley was Broadway itself, that big boulevard, which was just expanding by leaps and bounds and from 1904 certainly to 1914. And there were so many light bulbs and so many marquees during this period that in 1906 it was called the Great White Way for its illumination. So we're going to render you an illuminating interpolation of into the Broadway musical Bullets Over Broadway, a song I love, sung inimitably by Marin Mazzie.
There's a broken heart for every light on Broadway, a million tears for every gleam, they say. Those lights above you think nothing of you. It's those that love you that have to pay. There's a sorrow lurking in each gloomy shadow, and sorrow comes to everyone someday. 'Twill come to our brothers, but think of the mothers with broken hearts for each light on Broadway.
It's Helen Sinclair.
There's broken-hearted husbands, there's broken-hearted wives, there's broken-hearted sweethearts who must now lead double lives. And there's the boy and girl who thought 'twas right to take a chance, and they all must pay the fiddler if they dance. Dance, dance,
Helen Sinclair.
There's a broken heart for every night on Broadway.
Helen Sinclair.
A million tears for every gleam, they
It's
say.
Helen Sinclair.
But if you have the fire, that bottomless desire, that always yearning, fiercely churning, stomach-turning need, it's guaranteed you'll succeed.
It sounds so beautiful.
So will you come to battle?
Yes.
With critics and their prattle?
Yes.
Will you join in Apollo's rondelay?
I have no idea what that means.
Then you will join the greats on old Broadway.
I will join the greats on old Broadway.
Then we will join the greats on old Broadway.
Day is ending, birds are wending back to the shelter of each little nest they love. Nightshades falling, lovebirds calling. What makes the world go round? Nothing but love. when whippoorwill calls and evening is nigh, I hurry to my blue heaven. I turn to the right, a little white light will lead you to my blue heaven. A smiling face, a fireplace, a cozy room, a little nest that's nestled where the roses bloom. Just Molly and me, and baby makes three. We're happy in my blue heaven. Fireplace, a cozy room, a little nest that's nestled where the roses bloom. Just Molly and me, and baby makes three. We're happy in my blue heaven. Fireplace, a cozy room, a little nest that's nestled where the roses bloom. Just Molly and me, and baby makes three. We hurry to my blue heaven.
That was Gene Austin singing one of the most popular songs of 1927, My Blue Heaven, written by Donaldson and Whiting, and it became such a big pop hit and such a big sheet music hit and such a big hit on the radio that Eddie Cantor interpolated it into the 1927 Ziegfeld Follies. Well, we're winding down our Tin Pan Alley episode today, and I want to remind everyone about Tin Pan Alley Day, Saturday, October 23rd from noon to 4th. In front of the Flatiron Building on 23rd Street. It's free. Please go. And we doff our boater to the Tin Pan Alley American Popular Music Project for sponsoring this. Now, what happened to Tin Pan Alley? Well, obviously they were sheet music salesmen and music publishers up till today, but with sound in 1927, sound film, and more of a Broadway presence of important songs that were integrated into the score or had reviews, some of which written by Ira and George Gershwin, and we recognize the Ira and Leonore Gershwin Philanthropic Fund. These one-offs became a little less pertinent to American popular culture. What's the last one? Well, here's one from 1935. It was written by Rodgers and Hart for a couple of movies and never really landed. So they decided to release it on its own, and it became one of, if not their biggest hits. It's been recorded by over 600 people. Blue Moon. And here is Jackie Wilson to take us home with what I think is a wonderful version of a standalone American classic.
You saw me standing alone, without a dream in my heart. without a love of my own. Oh, blue moon, blue moon, you knew just what I was there for. You heard me sing a prayer for someone I really could care for. And then there suddenly appeared before me the only one my arms will ever hold. I heard somebody whisper, please, please adore me. And when I looked, the moon had turned to gold. Oh, oh, blue moon, blue moon, blue moon. Now I'm no longer alone, without a dream in my heart. Oh, without a love of my
Well, where is the time all gone to? This is Larry Maslon here at Broadway to Main Street. Let's catch up next Sunday at 3.